My name is Lizzie. Every week I'm bringing along a piece of origami, a fold that you can do yourself at home. And the idea is that it can help you focus your mind and relax. I'm bringing along this week, which for me is week 8, a flapping bird, which is a beautiful mechanical toy really. And I'll be showing you how to make this out of just a normal piece of paper, so A4 or letter, depending on where you are. And it's a really interesting bird. Firstly, it is beautiful and it really works, it flaps. And also it's just interesting how this is actually an old fold, but actually not as old as the traditional ones that are often shown. So this one is in this case, it's on the cover of the British Origami Society magazine. But this beautiful etching was from 1885 in France, and it was a publication that was about nature and science, and this is shown as a way of relaxing and having fun. I just think it's very beautiful. It's a bit of a mystery whether this has come straight from Japan or whether it's been inspired by Japanese origami and maybe people in Europe who've adapted and found that there's a way to make a sort of mechanical toy with it. So I normally go and visit patients and also work with staff in a hospital at UCH, my colleagues. And these films are very much dedicated to my colleagues for relaxation, to encourage you to take some time out. It's really important that you look after yourself at this time. And actually doing something active can really just focus the mind, I think, in a way that many of us can struggle with. And I think doing something active is a really key way of helping yourself. Also important, of course, to do exercise, but this is almost sort of a mental workout. And I was taught this by someone who was a patient, and she found it really helped her. So she asked me to make flowers, and since then I've been learning more and more pieces. And this is one that's always gone down very well. So you'll be able to learn to make your own. And you can also, if you just want to watch and just enjoy watching the journey, then you're very welcome as well. So in a moment, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you how to make this from a normal piece of paper, just something you'd have at home. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. We're going to move it round. Here we go. And grab a piece of paper. So each time I'm showing from normal paper rather than origami paper. Origami paper is beautiful. There's many different patterns and colours, but you don't need special paper. Any paper will work. And I think actually it can be rather charming from pieces of paper you wouldn't maybe have used or put in the bin and make it into something special. This also could be something you share with your family. Maybe you can encourage them to join you in making wherever they are. And actually I've learnt an awful lot through YouTube, so I hope these films will help encourage you. And there are loads of brilliant videos out there, so if you find that you're enjoying origami, something you can easily continue with, it's a really valuable tool. And but I just thought it's nice to make something at this time, because normally what I offer is this time together. So I hope you feel that we can be together now. I'm also doing live folds as well on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. And colleagues as well can also get in touch. So here goes. I'm going to direct the camera down, get a board because it helps if you've got something to press on. And we will begin. So a piece of paper. First of all, I'm going to start by simply making it into a square. So to do that, if you take the corner and bring it over to line up with the side, then this is the way to make your square. So each time I show, going from scratch, how to do this. And the thing with origami is it's about taking your time and care, and in doing that I think you're also giving yourself a bit of time and care as well. So being nice and exact. You can always, if it's not quite right, just realign it. Paper's brilliant. It's got a lot of flexibility in it, and yet it also holds the fold so well. So another good thing is giving good strong folds that will give it strength and structure. So next, to make our square, we need to get rid of this rectangle. So the way I do it is just turn it over now and then bring it back and fold it down so it matches up. It looks a bit like a Robin Hood's hat at this point. This is quite traditional to the traditional crane, which I'll be showing you another time, which is beautiful. But I do rather like that it moves, and I love that engraving. I think it's so beautiful. We will get rid of this strip. So if you've made a good strong fold, you should be able to just a little tiny tear there. Make sure you put it down onto the surface. And then you should be able to tear it off. You could also use scissors or a ruler. There we go. So now you've got a triangle. Your next step is to fold it over like so and line those up. There we go. So yes, we don't really know who has invented this one, but it sounds quite likely that it may have been a bit of a fusion of Japanese origami and maybe in Europe as well. And the thing is, we've all learnt origami, haven't we, as children? We've all made paper aeroplanes and the chatterboxes. It's something that's become everybody's culture, and from such a simple material. So our next step is, we've folded it in half again. You've got a little kind of a pouch. So if you put your finger in there, you should then be able to get it down to the middle, I would suggest, just because it get rid of all the wrinkles, and then push it down and it makes a square, and then line all of these up. And the thing is, I think with origami is, although I'm showing you roughly how to do it, you actually have to, in some ways, figure out how the materials work for you. And with time, it does get easier. But I think the challenge is a good thing. And it's that challenge which also focuses your mind. And the thing is, I always think, just know you will get there. It takes time and patience. And that's what it's encouraging. So hopefully it's made a square for you. Make sure the ends are lined up. Turn it over to the other side. There's already that diagonal line. So if you just fold it back against that line which is already there, purely so it sticks up a bit like a sundial. Can you see? So that sticks up. And then put your fingers in and squash it down again to make a square. It will then match the other side. Like so. Quite a lot of origami will start off with similar, what's called bases. These first steps can be quite similar. And then they start going off in different directions. Probably do some kind of interesting family tree of all these things. Who knows? But the thing is, it's about playing and experimenting. You may even find that you come up with something different. If anything, when you're first starting, you're more likely to do things in different ways, I think, and create new things. So if we all make sure we've got it the same way up, can you see there sort of empty flaps at the bottom and the bit that's gathered at the top? So I want you next to take the side and fold it in a straight line, like so. So it's the bits that are loose there, folding it to the middle line. There we go. And you know, clearly this will amuse children if you can make a flapping bird. It will amuse adults too, believe me. I think if anything, origami is more suited to adults, and I think children admire it because they know it's quite difficult, but it's also very fun and playful, and I think that's something we should always keep up. That's it. So from the side, people always think, wow, it's amazing, and it is amazing. These are people who've discovered things and passed them on from one to another. And it's only through people spending time to pass it on that we've got these beautiful models. So it's very much a culture, I think, very generous and a very kind culture. There we go. So I folded in both sides to that middle line. It's quite a few layers. It may be a bit tough by now. That's fine. So it should look like that. Now that top triangle, if you just fold over. There we go, and it's really just to give it a line. Now the next step, I just like to think of opening a present. It's just a nice thought. Open up those flaps, like so. And what we're going to do is I recommend holding onto this triangle, opening the top layer of paper. You have to play around a bit, and bring it back. So it's lying flat like that, and I'm going to bring it up, and you sort of have to flatten it a bit as well, so it's a little bit reversing directions of those folds. Give yourself time. Be really patient with yourself. You will get there. So what you're doing is flattening it. Again, it's only with playing with your own piece of paper that you're going to get to grips with this, but it's absolutely possible. Know that it is. Give yourself a time, you'll get there. And I think it's because, you know, it's a little bit of a challenge, and that's exactly what will give you a sense of achievement as well. It's really easy. It's not going to be so interesting. So I'm actually originally a scientist. I work now as an artist, but I tend to combine science and art, and this is very much science and art. It's very interesting that the etching of this was in a sort of a science publication, because it's a piece of engineering as well. There we go. So we'll do the same on the back. So turn it over. Again, I find it quite useful to hold on to that triangle. It keeps that bit flat. And then top layer, you should be able to push it back. You see, pushing it back. And the same thing, flattening it down. Again, you might need to put your fingers in just to get it to behave. That's it. Take your time. I think that's the enjoyable part. This isn't so quick and instant, and that's a lovely thing. I think we get the most satisfaction out of something we spent a little bit of time and care on. And in it you feel better for it. There you go. You can just do maybe one side at a time. I'm just trying to get it in the right position. And then flattening it down. Trying to get it through the points. And the same on this side. And you could decorate these. You could do different colours. Or just keep it simple. A nice little white bed. Just flatten those lines down. There we go. So hopefully it looks like that, sort of diamond shape. Now one end you've got sort of leggy bits. Actually that'll become a tail and a head. But if we have it this way up, like little legs pointing down. Now the next step is an interesting one. If you turn it to the side, you can open up the side like so. And then what I want you to do is bring it up. Like so. Did you see? So it was flat like this. I'm trying to go nice and slowly because it's all new, and I think it's encouraging and excitement to trying something new, and in it being patient and kind. So turn it to the side and lift it up, and then fold it in on itself so it sticks up. We'll come back to what angle, so don't press it down just yet. So that's going to be either a head or a tail. So the same thing, the side here, and open it up and then lift it up like so, and then fold it in on itself. There we go. So hopefully it looks a bit like that. Next, make sure it's kind of reasonably up in the middle there. It's possible that it hasn't come all the way up. So make sure it's sort of, you'll see there's a natural point where it come up to. Make sure it's around up to there. So our next step is to pull out one of these sides. Pull it out, and what we're trying to do is line up the neck with that angle there. So basically it's all smooth. You can feel it, I'd suggest, with your finger actually. So it's all lined up. And in lining it up, you'll find it's a bit of an angle there. Can you see? Actually, that needs to be a little bit more. There we go, because I'm doing it so it faces the camera. Can you see that's nicely lined up? So at the moment this isn't, it's sort of tucked away. And again, for this, say, this side, it's the same thing again, pulling it out until this all lines up. So making sure this lines up here. That's the correct angle. How wonderful that someone played around and realised that this angle would make the difference. And I guess you could play around and find out that it does matter, I would have thought. So it looks like this. It's a rather nice shape now. Now, we're very close, really. You've got to decide which side, which end is going to be the head. I think I'll just go for this. So what I do is I push it down. Do you see? I'm just pushing it down in the middle. Again, these things are to discover yourself as well. And everyone's head seems to vary a little bit because it's, like, for the animals, there's a lot more sort of variation, and that there's that little bit of expression. So all I did was it was up and I sort of pushed it in the middle of that fold, and it then just gives that head shape. And you can squeeze it and it gives a nice little head. Lovely. So we really are almost there. Our next step is we're going to fold the wings down. At the moment they're completely up. The wings need to come down. So I'm going to fold it from the point that the wing touches the neck there, down to this point, which is that sort of bottom of the triangle. So I'm just doing it, so I'm looking at the camera here now. So this touches there, and it comes all the way down to there. So I'm doing it in a nice straight line, hopefully. There we go. Come a tiny bit. So the great thing is you can just reposition till you're happy. I would always recommend being quite critical with origami. If it goes out, it gets worse and worse. So it's gone from there up to there. So to match on the other side, it's quite easy. You just simply do it so it matches your other side. There we go. We're almost there. And we'll find out. They don't 100% always flat, but they usually do. So hopefully this will work. And it should work for you too. So it's hopefully looking like that. That's a nice shape, isn't it? It's a little bit of a slightly different shape to the traditional crane, but not much. And it's rather lovely that this can fly. So to get it to fly, I might bring it up here. Here we go. So I recommend to get it going, you sort of, towards the tail, I would slightly open it up a little bit, just a little bit there. And now the trick is really to hold it, I think, quite low down the bottom of the tail, and to hold it that front triangle, that triangle that we've got, and then hopefully we'll see whether this works. I never quite know myself. All right. It often takes a little bit of time to limber up the paper, but can you see it's beginning to get there? There we go. It's flapping now. There we go. Lovely. It does work. So just that little bit of persistence at first, and it's rather nice. So we'll hold it quite low down there, and I'm pushing up in that same angle of the tail, and that's what's flapping it. Quite a nice noise. You can also, so it stands up nicely when you're not flying it, is you can slightly separate these triangles at the front. So if you tiny bit bend it back along that existing line, it just gives a slight gap, and it means then it will just very easily sit down. And obviously you could do it whatever size you want as well, this bird. But I hope that's worked for you. I hope that's been a fun thing to do. Hurrah! A little bit of freedom. I think there's something very beautiful about birds. I don't know if you've been noticing them all, the songs. They've been singing so much, and I think they're a lovely symbol of being free. So I hope this will have given you a few moments of feeling a little bit free and playful and discovering, I think, that magic, which was also appreciated back in 1885. I think there's something very beautiful about this. So thank you very much. I will be coming back again next week, each week a different fold. And I'll also be doing this live on Wednesday at 2. So take care and make sure you do give yourself that chance to do something that's fun. Thank you. Bye-bye.